The merger between the Virgin Islands Fire Services and the Department of Health's Emergency Medical Services has resulted in a dramatic reduction in response time, up to 50% less time in some instances.
And I'm thinking about Coral Bay St. John for now. Riza is a good example where initially when there was a medical emergency in Coral Bay St. John, we had firefighter EMTs, but they could not transport. They just went there and stabilized, and they had to wait maybe 30 minutes for an ambulance from Cruz Bay to transport a patient from Coral Bay to Marraketing. So right now with an ambulance being there, you do the math. They can get there within 10 minutes and then directly transport the patient to Marraketing. And that's a big difference right now. That has never happened before. That's unprecedented for us in the St. Thomas, St. John district. We have 3 ambulances in St. Croix consistently. We have our EMS chiefs in quick response vehicles responding. So response time has been less than 10 minutes in most situations. Now we can't control a perfect storm where you have 3 ambulances and have 10 calls pending. That can happen, but for the most part, I like to use St. John as a good example, how the response time has decreased tremendously because of that ambulance being there.
Every month, according to Evelyn, EMS responds to approximately 300 calls in each district, totaling about 6,000 calls territory-wide on an annual basis. At times where there is a heavy call load, EMS chiefs are now able to leap into action.
Soon we have our EMS chiefs and supervisors assigned to quick response vehicles. Whenever there's a surge of calls, these chiefs go out and they respond. They have their vehicles purchased by the Department of Interior, grant monies again, and they are fully equipped and they can respond and stabilize while the ambulance is en route to transport. So it's a perfect model. That's what we've been saying for the past 3 years. This tiered response system is now playing out in the reality of what we've been saying for the past couple of years.
The Virgin Islands Fire and Emergency Medical Services Act was a proposal from Governor Albert Bryan Jr. in 2019. St. Croix's EMS Chief Robert Bryan told senators of the Committee on Homeland Security, Justice and Public Safety that the framework now in place is a replica of what occurs in the mainland United States.
It can't be disregarded that the fire department is actually doing what we see stateside, whereas when we do have surges of calls, we have the EMR firefighters and EMT firefighters actually responding from fire trucks and doing a myriad of things, controlling traffic, assessing the scene, reporting back, and making sure that no one is having any life-threatening emergency that is not being attended to. Just this alone has also reduced the response time, allowed the ambulance a little extra time to get there and make a difference in someone's day.
With the integrated system already positively impacting EMS performance, VI Fire and Emergency Medical Services Director Daryl George announced that response capabilities will be further enhanced with the addition of new ambulances to the EMS fleet. VIF EMS has been able to secure almost $2 million in federal grant funding to purchase the new vehicles.
It's one of the things that we did, Eddie, Evelyn, in January, when it was May, there was a grant application through Interior that came out, and we lobbied to our lobbyists in Washington, and we got verbal commitment for $1.9 million to buy 7 new ambulances. As soon as that money is released, either in January or February, we'll go ahead and procure those ambulances for the territory. Right now, the fleet is being maintained. There's some bumps and bruises with some of those older ambulances. I'll not sit down here and tell you everything is grand, but as they break down or some issue comes, the chiefdom will address them immediately.
George says the VIF EMS is actively hiring more certified mechanics to help maintain the older ambulances. The agency director also remains optimistic that a cohort of 8 employees will soon receive certification to become emergency medical responders. Without the certification, they are at risk of losing their department jobs. In addition, Evelyn said he would take up a suggestion by Committee Chair Senator Angel Balquez to recruit returning EMS certified veterans who are interested in working with VIF EMS to fill existing vacancies within the agency.